Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This is Will Johnson, FYPM underscore staffing slash FYPM LLC. I'm going to go ahead and kick it to my co-host.
Hi guys, it's Samantha from Milky Melanin, the owner. Nice to see you guys today.
Okay, and I'm going to introduce you guys to somebody new, a new close friend of mine, because somebody threatened me. But no, she's super cool. Her name is Timesha Harris, and she has a couple companies, actually like three. So she has, she's an author, Tales of a Young Advocate, and she also has the P.L.U.G, the plug, social media marketing. So go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, everybody. My name is Timesha Harris. I have dubbed myself as the serial entrepreneur. COVID then made a sister get out her bag. So I'm super excited about it. But before COVID, I became an author and I wrote a series of children's books called The Adventures of Funbobbie. I'm trying to get my camera right. Sorry. So these are the 5 books that I have out right now. There's 15 volumes in the series. There are books about race relations for our children of color, how they deal with the code switching that we deal with in corporate America, how they deal with covert racism and continue to feel secure in their Blackness in the midst of those things. And so it teaches them how to be able to have difficult conversations without being confrontational, yet being very eloquent and educated with their words. I use SAT prep words. I'm a former teacher. So there's a glossary in the back of every volume. There's also a mental health workbook that goes along with each set of 5 books because there are some heavy topics that are being discussed in terms of some of the, in the books, in the pages of some of these books. I'm also a publisher. I started writing my books and putting them on Amazon, and Amazon was taking all my little coins. So I started my own publishing company because I wanted all my little coins. And so I also help other people publish books. I'm also in the process of helping another aspiring indie author get his children's book out. And then I started The.P.L.U.G during COVID, doing social media marketing for entrepreneurs that are starting out and that are established already, doing a bunch of social media posts and marketing campaigns and branding for their businesses.
Okay, so you gave us a little bit, but can you give us a little, like, why did you start writing the book?
So I'm a mother of 2. I have 2 Black kings that I'm raising. They are 14 and 8, Tyler and Jaden. And Tyler is my reasoning for writing Funbobbie. This is essentially him. This is kind of the images of him are what he looked like at that age. But they go to private school. My children are first generation private school kids in our entire family, mama side and daddy side. And so I know my children are very, very smart. My oldest son has been reading since my baby can read, since he was 10, 11 months old. I could put flashcards in front of him and he could identify the words. Jaden's been reading since he was probably 18 months, started walking at 8 months. But I spent a lot of time with them. When I stopped teaching, when I was pregnant with Tyler, I knew that I wanted to give that a time and attention to my own children. And so they speak different languages. They are just very, very well-versed academically because of my background. But so I put them in private school when Tyler was going to middle school. He was getting bullied a lot because he's not I want to play basketball type at recess. He'd be sitting down reading Harry Potter books in the 5th grade and kids would pick on him. And I just wanted him to go to a school where he could be academically astute and not feel like he's an outsider. So I put him in a really, really prestigious private school in the Bay Area. And they dealt with, and we're from California, so they're going to this really prestigious school in Oakland, and they dealt with a lot of covert racism. So, say, oh, Black people do this. Oh, like they trying to figure out where we come from. Because they're like, how do you guys have money to even attend this school? Like not necessarily saying that, but kind of putting it out there a little bit like that. And so they would come home. My oldest, he was in 6th grade. He would come home asking questions. Now, nobody's picking on him for being a smart kid, but now he's asking questions about being Black. Well, Mom, do Black people go on vacations? Do Black people do X, Y, Z? Like, yeah, we do all that. What you mean? Like, why? I don't understand. And so he would go into detail, because we had an hour commute from Oakland to Richmond. That's where I'm from. Shout out Richmond. An hour commute coming home. And so it was like, well, okay, so how was your day? And then he'd get to tell, well, such and such asked me, do Black people go on vacations? And then I'm like, well, whoa. Why is that even a conversation? So he was like, well, so he started questioning who he was. And at that age, that's a really pivotal point in middle school where when these kids are trying to figure out who they are, they're trying to identify with as a Black person, as a boy, as a girl. And these days, this generation, like, what do I do? And so I really didn't. I tried to Google some stuff and research how do I parent him through this and navigate him in the right direction. And I wasn't finding any content. And I've been a writer for a very long time. I majored in criminal justice, wanted to be an attorney. And so I write very eloquently. And so I was like, I'm going to write him a little story and make up this fictional character, Fun Bobbie, who is student council president, straight A student, started a track team, making state, basketball, the little girl that he likes. She's an entrepreneur. She make t-shirts and she swagged out and all of this other kind of stuff. So made this really dope character, and he dealt with some of the same issues that Tyler was dealing with, and he addressed it like, hey, I really didn't like why you said that in class, and it really kind of hurt my feelings, but this is why it hurt my feelings, and let me help me understand where you coming from, so I don't just automatically assume that you have negative intent. Let's talk about it. And so he's like, Mom, that's so cool. He's like, you should make this into a real thing. Like, I just really wrote it for him. And so once he read it, I was like, you got a little idea there, son. So I started writing some more stories as he would give me more stories. And we ended up with 15 books in the series. And so it's caught wind, like they're in Oakland Unified School District, West Contra Costa Unified School District, San Francisco Unified School District, Vallejo Unified School District, all the major school districts in the Bay Area. They have the books in their library. The students have commented, the teachers have commented. I've done book reads at a lot of these different schools. Now just recently moving out here to Atlanta, really trying to get into this market as well. And so I think it's really, really great content for us to start having these conversations, as DE&I, as we know in corporate America, is a really hot topic. It can't just start in corporate America. We really need to start that and spearhead those conversations when they're that age. And so that's the reason why I started writing Fun Bobbie.
That is an excellent reason to start.
Absolutely. Can you give us one more time where we can find those books?
Funbobbie.com. I have my own website, but they're also on Amazon if you want to give them a little donation. You can find it on Amazon and Kindle. But if you go to funbobbie.com, all the proceeds go directly to me. Or you can find me on social media, on Facebook as @FunBobbie, on Instagram is TheAdventuresoffunbobbie, and on Twitter I'm @FunBobbieMommy. So
Fun Bobbie is FUN, right?
It's FUNBOBBIE, not Y.
Okay, awesome. Because I'm sure people are going to want to go look this book up because it sounds amazing. I mean, you make me want to go get it for my kids. I have 3 boys. So
please do. I really want our Black boys to read it, but I want other nationalities and other races to read it as well, because it comes from their perspective too, to kind of, because I don't think anybody is born racist. I feel like that stuff is taught. And maybe if their parents even are having a conversation where they're not racist or they're not intending to be, but they come from that background. And so they may say things that they don't know are hurtful, or it's just racially insensitive. And so you don't mean it, but my kids are hyper vigilant about racism because I've taught it to them since they were 2 and 3. So anything that looked like it, they'd be like, hold on. Which I don't mind so much, but I have to tell them, like, okay, everybody's not bad. So it's a little bit of that too inside of the stories too. It's like everybody doesn't have negative intent. You have to lead with positive intent is in the beginning, get understanding, seek clarity, ask questions, and then make a determination. You don't just off the rip feel like somebody is coming at you foul before you've done your due diligence to get to the bottom of it. And so that's what the books are really based around and kind of teaching our children to do. So it's meant for the parents to have conversation too. Like once they read it, they're not going to know what some of these words mean. School of thought and, innuendos and things like that. They may not understand, or they may have heard the words, but they don't really know covert aggression, covert racism, microaggressions. They don't know what those words mean. Yes, I have definitions of them in the back, but once these kids read this, they're going to need some adult interaction and conversation afterwards. So that's why when I give them to the schools, I set up a reading to actually do the readings with them for them to ask me Q&A. And so over COVID, I've done several of them in class readings and meet the author as we've read the stories to different classrooms. The youngest, second grade. My youngest was in second grade last year, and we went through all 5 of the series. I was a guest reader every week for 5 weeks. And I do it for churches. We have Bible studies, and we talk about it from the spiritual perspective as well. I'm a Christian, and I love the Lord. And so I talk about that as well in terms of how you have to continue to be, lead with love. And so it's as a Christian, as a child of God, also how those things are affected, how racism is affected in our religion, in our spirituality. So I kind of talk about it from a lot of different angles, but it's all just kind of to have the conversation and open up that dialogue.